Are we good? Okay, thank you guys. If there's let me just check it myself. I was trying to say that if the sound is just messing up, just let me know. Mostly when I connect it, it does that for the first time. Give me a second. Okay, so far it's good. So far, so good. Okay, so let's start with Bassem Amin, as always. So currently we have, I think, 6 or 4 people tied for first. Actually, let's take a gander at the board, the players. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players tied for first. I mean, few players have 3 points. Beyond 6 people. No, 7 people have 3 points. Of course, the top, those tied for first have 3.5 points. So yeah, I think this is going to be the matchup to think about or to watch for. And depending on whatever happens here, anything could happen, right? And I don't know if they are using, for example, like head-to-head to decide. But if we have like head-to-head, there's going to be an issue. Because Bassem has drawn against, I think, some weaker player, which if the other person beats, then it's a problem. Okay. So let's start with Bassem's game. Where is this? Okay, finally not a Sicilian. Aren't we all happy to see that? Finally not a Sicilian. Let me reload this page for a second. Okay, now I'm focused. D4, knight f6, c4, g6. Okay, knight c3. I mean, now we can transpose into so many different things. We can have a King's Indian defense. I don't know if we can still go for a Queen Gambit declined. We can, I think, go for a Nimzo. There's a strange Nimzo where you play g6, but then you don't actually bring the bishop here. You actually go this way. I think it's a very old variation. Okay, so we are playing the King's Indian defense. D6, bishop to e2, castles kingside. I forget what it's called. Traditionally, you develop here and you bring the bishop to this square. Traditionally, like I said. After this, you come in here. And there are some lines where you go b4, knight here, and then you try and maybe even sacrifice your rook on the c7 square over here. Very interesting lines. C5, pawn push. John Bartholomew spoke about a line where you would take and then play knight here, which is quite like simplified. Again, it's not here exactly because here the pawn is hanging, but I mean, those are lines that can be considered. Takes, g5, bishop to e3. Knight g4, bishop takes g4, bishop takes g4, h3, bishop to f5, h4, f6. We already saw what happened to another player who allowed this, right? We already saw what happened to another player who allowed locking of his position. I would normally like white, black. Sorry, I would normally like white here, but it's Bassem we are talking about, right? So even though this position might objectively be very good for black, for white, black seems to be even though this position looks good for white, I think black has things he can do. Again, this is Bassem. I don't joke with his moves. Knight g to e2, knight to d7, and this is the current position. Engine be like black is winning, yes, of course. It's so interesting, right? How these guys just seem to know what they are doing. Again, this doesn't mean that Bassem is winning, but of course the point is that black aims for equality before black takes up the initiative. I mean, this is just Fantastic. So I'm guessing the knight wants to jump in here, which is why the engine is recommending this move. If you don't respond to it, you are getting struck here. So f4 makes perfect sense. But it's scary. Bilal. Let's see how he's doing. Oh, another Sicilian. E4, C5. Knight F6, Knight C6. Bishop to B5. D6, takes. Yeah, so this is the line I was talking about. Remember, I think round 4, round 3. Round 4, round 2. I spoke about this line where the opponent rather took this way instead of this way. And this is the line I was actually kind of expecting. Okay. F6, D3, knight to H6, queen to E2, and this is the current position. I really don't know how this is supposed to go. Maybe, again, like the engine is saying, then you get the bishop here to kind of prevent pawn push. Castles is also something you want to think about. Maybe knight here, rook comes in here, and you can play it like a Italian. I don't know. I'm just throwing out moves. But yeah, I think the point of this move is to kind of discourage your opponent from going pawn push or castles with pawn push, because it kind of slows down that forward motion in my mind. Let's turn this off. I think maybe we want to develop the bishop here. Castle. Maybe go for this move. Yeah. And I would not be shocked if Bilal does not castle, but instead goes g5. I don't think it's a good move, but I won't be shocked if he goes for that option. I don't think it's a good thing to go for, but I won't be shocked if he does do that, right? Again, this f pawn does a good job of preventing him from stepping in, but who knows? Anything could happen from this. So g4, 5. If it happens, don't be shocked. I just feel like that's what he would do. Especially if we see something like this and then this. I mean, you can play this now. G5, G4. And after the knight moves, then you can just slot in the rook. I don't know if you want to wait for your opponent, maybe go this way, play this move, let your opponent castle, then you hit your opponent with g5. I think these are ideas you can go for. Let's see if the engine thinks about g5. No, it's not looking at it. Yeah, especially with a move like this, I get it. These are the lines I'm looking at. Let's look here. Wafa Hamburg. Another interesting game. C4, knight f6. Okay. Queen d7. H3, preventing any skirmishes there. F3, knight jumps back, knight to E2. Let me turn this off again. Knight develops to E7, and then we have G4. Okay, so we see the same thing happening twice. King may stay in the center. The center is kind of safe for now. It may not stay safe forever, but yeah, this is basically nice. Just curious, could we actually just play like f4? That way if our opponent takes, we can transfer our knight here. and if this, we can lock the position up, or even this way. Again, I don't really fully support it because like this pawn is very weak, but it could be tried. I don't think this move works. You could choose to castle here as black. I'm just wondering if this opens up attacks against you as white. That's what I'm kind of like trying to figure out as well. Or how about this? This knight doesn't seem to be defending anything at this point, so we can just bring it here. That way if it takes, we can take here, and we are freeing this diagonal. There's always queenside, but the problem with going queenside immediately is that b5 exists, right? Takes here. Okay, move on instantly. Let's look at Simpson's game. We have another Sicilian, and I hate these. Yeah, so everybody's capturing this way. That's kind of like why I was. Again, it doesn't mean that it's bad. I'm just like, why would you do that? For h5. If you capture en passant, you really create a problem for your opponent here. I would consider that heavily. Yeah, he does. And now develops the knight here. And I think the reason he's going this route instead of maybe, for example, something like this, right? The same thing. Well, maybe you're trying to keep the bishop line open in case the knight tries to jump in. I don't know if that's really the point, but like, if you did this, your opponent does have this move, which targets the queen. And possibly he didn't want to allow that. Yeah, you have to look at these slight things. And of course, the opponent doesn't have any like good way of stopping this from happening. So it makes sense to go for such ideas. So we just castle as black. Is there some word where we play like e5? Opening up our bishop just so we can get access to the g4 square. Maybe we could do that somewhere. Bani Kani, what's up? You're South African? Nice. Good to have you on stream with us. Michael Simpson is your guy, I'm guessing. I saw some of his games. He did very well, so I like following his games as well when he plays. I think you can allow this guy here. There's nothing. You could play this to try and stop the knight from coming in there. I don't know if it does this. Yeah, I get what you mean by you're from South Africa. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, what you mean by you're South African. I don't know if this is something you'd want to consider. I think Castles is the safest move to go for here at this point in time. As black, you could attempt other like side moves. But I can't evaluate like exactly how bad they are. Yeah, bishop c7. Instead of playing it now, I'm like, why don't you just play it after your opponent plays knight to c4? I get like preempting a move, but yeah, the other good move is not good move is e5. I'm seriously considering this move. So for black, the two good moves are apparently these two. Wait, why would castling be bad here? Rusty Hallow, thank you for the follow. I do appreciate that. Okay, so yeah, allowing this is not a good idea. That's if you do castle because your king side is quite weak and open to attacks. Adli Ahmed versus Tamer. Another Sicilian. What is with the Sicilians in Egypt? Like, I don't get it. Do Egyptians just randomly play Sicilians? Just like playing Sicilians? If anybody has chess piece, can they do some statistics for me and let's see? So that we see popular openings per country. This looks like a hedgehog, but it's not completely a hedgehog. Next game. I didn't really analyze that game. Let's look at it briefly. He's cocooned up. It makes, I mean, with all these pawns lined up, it makes it difficult for White to determine where to break. Angel was predicting here. I mean, of course, you can close this, but so it puts you in a conundrum here where you can't take. Now you allow Rook to come in here, and we have ideas of like this or like this. So ultimately, you have a big decision to make. I don't think you're worried about bishop takes. Personally, I think you can just allow it and go for this move still. Could be. You just have to find a continuation here for White. Let's see. Another Sicilian. Like, come on. And nobody's playing like the, should I say classical or the open Sicilian, where like after this you just jump in here. I'm not meeting this. It's always this line with this. Like it's the same. So that's why I'm beginning to think that if you play against an Egyptian, just expect a Sicilian if you play E4, right? We've seen this line repeated over and over. She declines trading the bishop, which is funny. That knight is just chilling where it is. I think because he's a little bit conscious about this knight jumping in here, that's why he's not trying to play this to switch knights. But we may see it happen at some point. Actually, no. He can still play this move here. And this pawn like becomes like a thorn in his side, right? You can't really take it now. All this depends. Let's just keep jumping. Okay, e4, e5, nice. We have an Italian with c3. All these lines exist. Takes. I'm looking at a move like this to prevent the opponent from castling. You also can't castle. But then we have a move like this coming up. Yeah, Queen A3 is the best move here. Stop your opponent from castling and you have ideas of this. That's not what the engine says though. But this is the idea. I'm also looking at ideas of the knight jumping in here. Knight f3, knight f6. Yeah. Okay. No, it's not like. Sorry, let me. I'm streaming. Sorry, my dad came in. I have to check something right now. Give me a second. I'll be with you guys. Okay, let's just go to live mode. Let me quickly just look at this. Knight f3, knight f6, d4, e6, c3, c3, c3. You know, mostly what you expect is like this, right? A transposition into the Queen's Gambit decline. That's mostly what you see, right? Because normally that's the whole thing about this knight f3. A lot of openings have knight f3 in their lines. So knight f3, I think that's why, at least that's my opinion on why knight f3 is flexible, because lots of openings have this, so you can transpose into many openings is just from this move. It kind of makes you a little bit unpredictable in the opening. Of course, I mean, against a skilled player, it's not that big of a deal, but that's kind of like the thing I see here. So again, you don't have to, like, I mean, but mostly what I see with this is that it transposes into, because like when you play this, like, you're hinting that you're going to play a London, you know, it's like you're going to play a London, and that's kind of like what I'm looking at. Yeah, so c3, c5, and yeah, so basically when you're playing against the London system, this is, or these modern type structures, this is the way you want to kind of like combat them, but c5 really disrupts what they want to do, and you can't really say you want to, like, what's the word, transpose into a Zuka towards here. So oh, sorry, this is the Collie. This is what a Zuka towards. This is not Collie Zuka towards. This is the Collie. But it's like I say something and he's like, nah, he's going to do it regardless, right? Oh, sorry. That's funny, right? Because I understand what he's trying to do there. That's why I'm like, yeah, you don't want to do this, but it's like, yeah, he's just gonna go for it. So it's like a Collie, basically, that black is playing. I'm not really an expert on the Collie. I'm more of an expert. I'm more abreast with the Zuka Twat than with the Collie, but I mean, similar ideas apply, except with the bad knight, the bad bishop. Okay, similar to a landing, and this is very annoying play, right? I mean, you can use this to learn how to play against these London Jubava positions. You see the way they kind of prevent the main idea you want to go for while pushing their idea, because what you normally like aim for, is like e5. So you can see that like he has a lot of things preparing to support e5. I won't be shocked if for some reason he gets castles here and then brings the bishop back just to keep pushing this whole idea. Though, I mean, if you keep focusing on it, it could cause you problems. So he has to be very careful here in how he plays this position. Again, knight c6 is also a good idea. You can even decide that you don't want to really develop this bishop yet. You can go knight b to d7 and then still aim for this whole idea. So, I mean, very nice play here. Give me a second. So that's actually quite interesting. E4 expected, yeah. And then he gets E5, right? And he has a very good hold over this square. But I think if anything at all, white will be more happy to allow his opponent to take than to take himself. This move could be played, but as we've seen from most games, it's coupled with ideas of F4 and may take a while to develop, while it seems like black is already on his way, right? Knight here can jump into this square. So I don't know. It looks very dicey if you'd want to go for this line. So that's why he takes. Okay, takes, but then we have a very nice bind here. Like this is, yeah, this is not. Let's not go forward yet. Let's just see. I think black is either equalized or slightly better here. Okay, white still has the edge, a slight edge. I was actually have picked black here because I think black was actually doing very well with the containment play. This might end up just being good for black again. Anyways, I'm more of a solid practical player, so I don't like it when things look awkward. He's playing like a King's Indian defense. Okay, that is interesting. Sorry, like I said, my dad asked me to check something, so I'm just checking it now. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay, bishop to g6, and here who is better? White is still better. Okay, I have to learn my quality, that's for sure. Oh boy. Okay, let's just hold on for now. Okay, please don't give me another Sicilian. C4, c5. Okay, we have a symmetrical English, very nice. Okay, e4. He doesn't play e4. Okay, mostly I see e4 being played. Okay, a4 stops any idea of b4. That's what it does. Knight jumps in here. I don't know about that. I don't know if you even want to go this way as well. Like, this is completely new to me. Bishop here runs into f4, which I think your opponent would be happy to play. So maybe you can't play the bishop here to e3, right? There's a containment move. You can't play this because of this. But the engine is like, yeah, you should be fine with this kind of move, which is very interesting that the engine actually supports that. Pretty interesting. Not many moves yet in this one. So we are here at this move a3. A3 is the current move that we are in. Whoa. d4, knight f6. Please give me. So that's a Trampowski, right? Bishop g7. Transpositional ideas is how I'm trying to understand this position. Let's go back and see how much Bassem is doing. How well Bassem is doing. Okay, so we saw. Whenever this guy plays, I don't understand. Like when these guys, like top players, play, I sometimes just don't understand what they are doing, right? They leave everything hanging in the balance, right? So he plays this. Okay, so there were two options here, which was the pawn push and then the knights jumping to this side, right? Like, how do you calculate something like this? You know? Perfect sense in the sense, like, you understand that maybe this move is to contain this. But then what's all this? Like, okay. Is it that just because you weaken this, that's what you're happy with? I mean, I do get that, like, if you can come in here, you can slot your knight here. But beyond that, I don't even know. These guys just confuse me. And the more you look at it, it looks like white is just now, like, it just, oh boy. Preach. I mean, we just don't understand what they are doing. We really don't. We really don't understand what these guys are doing. And black is completely better with all this like crazy play. I won't be shocked if the conclusion is that black should not even take at all. Black should just hold the position. But look at this. This is just not easy. Like, I'm trying to understand what's going on here, trust me. I don't think black wants to take. Let's see the engine disagree with me. No, you don't want to take immediately. You kind of want your opponent to take, which is funny. Nope, that's wrong. Wait, what? F5 is what I'm saying. And H takes G. Wait, that's crazy. I don't even understand what's going on here. Okay. H takes as well. And there's an equal position. Just castle king side. Okay. Let's let them play their chess, and we'll come back and then let them explain their moves to us. Unfortunately, there's no interviews, but yeah. Where do we leave this game at? Okay, this is where we left this game at. So what happened? We have h3, I guess, just to stop the knight from coming out. I mentioned that there's a very beautiful possibility of this move. Again, I don't think it's a good move, but the fact that you could go crazy is also a nice idea. e5, locking out the dark squared bishop. Knight to c3, d6, g4 from white rather. I expected it from black. Knight jumps back, and I guess you want to step into one of these squares. Or maybe... Nah, still doesn't work there. Okay, he's definitely preparing to do that. Knight to d8. That's a nice maneuver. That's a nice maneuver. That's actually a very nice maneuver that he's thinking about there. Identifying the outpost squares or the weak squares in your opponent's position and going after them. I don't know if you wanted to play this move immediately. Your opponent just has 2 defenders. You have like 3 defenders. You have 2 attackers. Okay, so adding another one is good. I was thinking that maybe you want to hold this off until your opponent actually shows signs of coming in here. Like maybe you could play, for example, h4. Then if your opponent does jump in here, then you come in with the bishop is what I was thinking. But apparently I'm wrong. What a shock. Anyways, knight jumps in. Bishop to bishop to d2, preparing to castle, and then his opponent's like, nah, I can also attack you here. But that kind of brings the question of where do you actually want to bring your knight? Ideally, you'd want to bring your knight here because first of all, it blocks your opponent, and second of all, your opponent can't kick you out of this square. But if your opponent has plans of castling queenside, I think you would want to reconsider and bring your knight here, which is a little bit of an issue because now your opponent can just trade off. That's what I'm looking at. No need to wait with the bishop on d2. It's doing nothing anyways. Okay, yeah, I mean, perfect sense. It's like it's staring down at a brick wall. But I've also had experiences. The reason why I mean, eventually the bishop would come in here. But the reason I was also thinking about is, who knows, maybe things would open up. I had a game at the National Chess Championship, at the Ghana National Championships, where my opponent did have this structure against me. And I had a very bad bishop staring it down. But eventually, as the game progressed, I managed to weaken this pawn structure and do something about it. So those options do exist. But I think in all cases, this bishop would have definitely had to come here. So Abigail, you are correct. All that talking just to say that you are correct. I just wanted to expound on my mindset on programming. Oh boy. What's my rating? I disconnected for a second. I'm sorry about that. I saw a disconnection. FIDE, I'm 1667. Chess.com, I'm 1800. Lichess, currently 1900. All sad numbers. If I was mentioning peaks, that's a different thing, but this is the current numbers. So yeah. Give me a second. What is this? What's that annoying? Boy. Oh, sorry, there's some moves. A5, we have H4, and then bishop to A6. Is the point of this to get this moving? That's interesting. Okay. Engine is distracting me. I know the engine is recommending here, but I realized that white has the same idea of transferring the knight here. I don't get why the engine wants this apart from seeing like c4. Right, creating this stronghold over here, trying to slow down or prevent any pawn break in this position. But I don't know if I think you take here, and I don't see how this is good for I don't see how this is good for black. Let's say sorry, good for white. I don't see how any of this is good for white, right? So that's why I'm not liking this idea of knight. I'm thinking white should be more or less concerned with creating threats here. Then again, let me consider 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we can go for this pawn push. What I haven't actually looked at is this. Oh no, actually that doesn't work. Yeah, we just take the knight has to move somewhere, probably here, and we can just open things up, right? We can just open these stuffs up. This I think just collapses the position for white. Should be fine here, right? Yeah. So I think you should definitely go for this. It's how the capture should take place that I can't pretty much figure out. Maybe you want to capture with the pawn first. You want to open this file up, so you may want to go knight, because you open kind of ideas here if you want to, or maybe you rather go this way. You come and target here, but that opens this, so maybe you want to go this way. Yeah, I don't know. So takes. I mean, if you capture everything, this is just good for white, right? So interesting. I'm calling someone. Okay, let's. Where's my landing system friend? Oh, he's playing as black today. Oh, Queen's Gambit declined. Nimzo Grunfeld, I think is what this is called. Neil Grunfeld. That's what this one looks like. Ah, well, comes with the experience. What other game is there? What game haven't I looked at? A lot, I know, but which one haven't I actually looked at? Let's look at this. Oh, okay. Wait, we've seen this already, right? We've definitely seen this. We've definitely seen this. Let's see this one. I'm seeing so many openings that I don't normally see when I am playing. Of course, because of the opening I play. I'm definitely seeing this coming in before this, right? Yeah. I think you probably want to play pawn push here. You kind of want to force the trade. Maybe not the best idea because of this. Nah, it's not a good idea. Then takes here, I guess. Trying to force this capture. That way you can get takes here. I still don't think this is good for black. Yeah, it's not good for black. So what's the move here? Just trying to remove the knight. Or just take here. Distract him. Get out to the diagonal. But then what's the plan of attack? All this is just dealing with the pressure. I guess that's basically it. Black is under so much pressure. White has to just make these moves to survive. I guess that's what the engine is saying. Why am I not playing in this? Well, I couldn't pay to travel. I couldn't pay to travel for it. I mostly play the tournaments that are indigenous to Ghana. Mostly I've never traveled to play a tournament. But who knows? I mean, if the stream does well, I will make that something I can do. Secondly, these guys will definitely crush me, but it will be a learning experience for sure. I mean, I would love this position 1,000 times. I would definitely love this position 1,000 times. And Sak, welcome to the stream. I would love this position 1,000 times. Can you really play this move? Like, you just can't play this move. I literally, oh my goodness. You can't joke with this. Why don't I get these positions, right? I mean, I used to get it when I used to play like King's Indian Defense, but this is just great. Wait, is this from a King's Indian Defense? It doesn't look like it. Ah, an advanced French. An advanced French with the queenside castles? I don't see that often. Yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm actually questioning this is because when you study like pawn structures and stuff, the apex pawn, that is the furthest push pawn, determines the area of attack, right? And the apex pawn at this point, like, okay, he's going to play pawn push. The apex pawn here is towards the queen side. So what that means is that if black wants to make a successful attack, it's going to be side, right? Because you have more space behind the pawn structure, right? So that is what you'd want to do. So castling into the position where this is going to be done does not make sense, if I should say. Again, respect to them because they are higher rated, but yeah, you get the point I'm trying to make here. So all this is just natural, like all this is flowing naturally. It's not black has done something ingenious. White just simply enters into a position where it's very difficult. And what makes this worse is that he's locked the position, right? If your opponent locks the position and is attacking on one side of the board, usually the best way to kind of like combat that is to break open the center. Even whenever I'm doing these kinds of lock positions, attacking one side of my opponent, when the opponent that just deals with the attack often loses, but the ones that counter in the center usually like give me problems. So with this pawn structure where f5 doesn't really do much in breaking and causing problems for your opponent, this position is just not where you want to be. It's not where you want to be. Yeah, everything is flowing naturally. Like it's everything is flowing naturally. Everything is just flowing naturally. Like this is natural. Like I don't know how I can explain. There's nothing extraordinary happening here. It's my opponent has allowed me, I'm just decimating him. To demonstrate, let's look at my all-time favorite, right? when your opponent allows, for example, these types of positions, let's no, is this it? No, it's not this, sorry. Let's say your opponent copies you here, right? And you go in this way, they come in this way, you come in this way, they come in this way, you come in this way, they come in this way, you come in this way. Takes, right? Everything here just flows, right? Anybody who often like tries to do something crazy here doesn't usually get anything out of the position, right? Here, castles, takes, right? Most of the people who are able to either win this game or draw this game are those who play e5, right? You want to break open in the center. That's basically what you want to do. Contrast that with this position where that doesn't even look plausible, right? And that's why the engine keeps recommending just going for these moves, because that's the only way you can do something. But can you survive? I mean, also black has to attack properly, right? It's not so straightforward. Taking with a pawn is an idea, but I can't really defend. Actually, yes, you can just take and then no. Actually, the knight there takes. You still have to do something about the position. You still do have to do something about the position. Okay, so guys, I'm sorry, like I said earlier, I have to leave at like 5:30, so I'm stopping the stream here. But and I'm very sorry, today I was very disoriented, so many things are going on. I'm having phone calls and everything, but I will be streaming tomorrow morning. I don't think tomorrow is a rest day. If it's a rest day, fine. If it's not, then on Saturday I will be streaming. But you can always follow the stream. If you're on Twitch, you can hit follow. If you're on YouTube, you can subscribe, so that whenever I go on live, you can always join the streams, right? And for those who still want to follow the games but they won't be able to, here's the link, right? So that you can also follow the games on your own. I will be back tomorrow or Saturday, depending on whenever the games continue. I'm expecting them to continue tomorrow, and I will see you guys. Thank you guys. If you dropped by, I really do appreciate it. If you followed, I really appreciate that as well. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers this month, this year. I'll be so grateful if you guys can help me. Those who join the chat and speak to me, I enjoy that as well. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys. I really have to